South Africa to Palestine, Leviev profits every time. 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 Occupation is a crime. Occupation is a crime. Occupation is a crime. Occupation is a crime. Occupation is a crime.
He's not seeing.
You will see.
You bastard.
Your mama didn't raise you that way.
Don't buy Leviev on Mother's Day.
Your mama didn't raise you that way.
Don't buy Leviev on Mother's Day.
Your mama didn't raise you that way.
Don't buy Leviev on Mother's Day.
Your mama didn't raise you that way.
Don't buy Leviev on Mother's Day. Against the apartheid wall and against the settlements being built on their lands. In peaceful, non-violent resistance, one of the many workers, one of the many activists, one of the many friends in Palestine, Bassem Abu Rahmeh, was killed. Muhammad Khatib, a member of the Bil'ain Popular Committee Against the Wall and Settlements, wrote this statement. His name was Bassem, which means smile, and that is how he greeted everyone. But we all called him Fil, which means elephant, because he had the body the size of an elephant. But Bassem had the heart of a child. He loved everyone, and because of his sweetness and ability to make us laugh, everyone loved him. Bassem was everyone's friend. The children talk about how he would play with them, scare them, and then make them laugh. He would tend the garden in the playground and bring toys and books to the kindergarten. The old ladies in the village talk about how he used to visit, to ask after them and see if they needed anything. In the village, he seemed to be everywhere at once. He would pop in to say hello, take one puff of the argila, and be off to his next spot. The morning he was killed, he went to the house of Hamas, whose skull had been broken at a previous demonstration 3 months ago by a tear canister projectile. That was the same weapon that would kill Bassem later that day. Bassem woke Hamas and gave him his medicine. Then off he went to visit another friend in the village who was ill with cancer. Then a little girl from the village wanted a pineapple, but he couldn't find any in the local stores. So Bassem went to Ramallah to get a pineapple and was back before noon for the Friday prayers and the weekly demonstration against the theft of our land by the apartheid wall. Fil never missed a demonstration. He participated in all of the activities and creative actions in Bil'ain. He would always talk to the soldiers as human beings. Before he was hit, he was calling for the soldiers to stop shooting because there were goats near a fence and he was worried for them. Then a woman in front of him was hit. He yelled to the commander to stop shooting because someone was wounded. He expected the soldiers to understand and to stop shooting. Instead, they shot him too. People came to his funeral from all the surrounding villages to show Bassem that they loved him as much as he had loved them. But those of us from Bil'ain kept looking around for him, expecting him to be walking with us. Fil, you were everyone's friend. We always knew you, we loved you, but didn't realize how much we would miss you until we lost you. As Bil'ain has become the symbol of Palestine's popular resistance, you are the symbol of Bil'ain. Sweet Fil, rest in peace. We will continue in your footsteps. Muhammad Khatib. In honor of Bassem and in honor of all of the people that have already lost their lives in their struggle against the apartheid wall and against the soldiers killing randomly, confiscating land, taking away their rights, taking away their loved ones, imprisoning them. We stand here not only to show our anger and our frustration and our despair over the lack of willingness to stop Israel's war crimes, but we do a small step in making sure that Israel will know that people are standing in opposition. Through boycott, divestment, and sanctions, we want to hold Israel accountable. We want to support the people of Bil'ain. We want to support Bassem Abu Rahma and everybody else that has lost their lives in this struggle. And we will continue to be out here, along with so many people all around the world. From South Africa to Belgium to Norway, the northernmost university in the world has recently taken a decision for boycott, divestment, and sanctions. To Canada, to Britain, to people throughout the U.S. are all carrying out these actions. And you know what? The ADL is a little worried that BDS is becoming part of the mainstream in the U.S. So we're here to say that there are more of us. We represent a growing movement, and we will continue to carry out boycott, divestment, and sanctions. Boycott, divestment, sanctions. Boycott, divestment, sanctions. Boycott, divestment, sanctions.
The people who are involved in these movements in Palestine, the Palestinians particularly who are targeted, who don't have the protection of foreign citizenship or being Jewish or being Israeli, are extraordinary people. You know, and the ways in which they're extraordinary and the beauty of these people doesn't make it through the press, even when the press isn't trying to smear them, because those kinds of things just don't really make it through print. You know, this was a guy who had every reason, at least from my perspective, to hate and to turn to nothing but rage and fury. And I suspect that in his place, that's what I would do. But he didn't. Somehow, in a way that I don't frankly understand, he managed to sort of day in and day out take an entirely nonviolent stand against people who are savaging his village, his home, his people. And when he was killed, there's a video of it, if you haven't seen it, on YouTube. And there was no crowd at the time. It wasn't even, it was barely a demonstration at the point he was killed. There were a smattering of folks standing with signs. Somebody was injured, and he was simply shot in the chest, out in the open, in the absence of any conflict of any kind. There was nothing going on. And there's this sense, I think, on the part of our opponents, you know, people like our buddy here, Leviev, and some of the folks who are walking by or whatever, that, you know, that a Palestinian death is somehow a good thing, or at the very most a loss to Palestinians, right? It's not like anything else. But the death of a good man, the death of a good and honorable and brave man, is a loss to the world. And we lost something. To the extent that any of the rest of us are good or honorable, we lost one of our own. I'd like to think.
We'll be back and we'll be stronger.
You cannot ignore us any longer.
We'll be back and we'll be stronger.
You cannot ignore us any longer.
We'll be back and we'll be stronger.
You cannot ignore us any longer.
We'll be back.